I suppose this is a silly question, but maybe it's not. How do you know how you feel? How do you know how you feel? I mean, sort of in general, you know how you feel. But when we're talking about, should this line be stable or unstable? How do you know? Well, you can try it some ways, but there may be an easier way to figure that out. Back to Leonard Bernstein again. So sort of the source where all things flow from. Okay, sort of the source from which all things flow. In his lecture on musical phonology, in one of those 6 lectures at Harvard, Bernstein said that in every culture, people whine and tease in minor thirds. Now, I don't know if he's right or not, but it's Lenny, so of course he's right. But that started me thinking. And I started wondering, well, if it's true that we whine and tease in minor thirds, it must be a minor third from something. That is, it must be 3/2 steps away from some kind of root or tonic that we've established. So I started wondering if we establish a kind of tonic when we talk. And so I started listening to conversations, listening for pitches, listening to how I pitched my voice when I was feeling like I was telling the truth, when I was uncertain, and so on, and came to the conclusion that yes, indeed, we seem to establish some kind of a tonic, some kind of a tonal platform from which all of our language evolves. We express a tonic. We express do, do, do. My do happens to be an A. That seems to be my tonic, an A. At least today, it seems to be a tonic. When I'm talking in my tonic, as I am right now, you may not believe a word I'm saying, but you know that I believe what I'm saying because I'm expressing a tonic. How do I do that? What actually expresses my tonic? It seems to me that my grammatical functions, which we've already talked about in this course, my grammatical functions, that is to say, my articles, my personal pronouns, I, my conjunctions, I want, and my prepositions, at, to, in, on, that my grammatical functions sort of set the velvet piece of cloth from which the gems of my meaning are displayed, and displayed by arrays, by arrays in pitch. So that typically our stressed syllables move up the scale from our tonic a third, when we emphasize, perhaps a fifth, so that what's happening when I'm on my tonic is that I'm literally arpeggiating my tonic with my stressed and my emphasized syllables. So if we whine in minor thirds, we're happy in major thirds. In major thirds, we're happy in major thirds. We ask questions in fifths, don't we? Yes. That's fairly interesting. So that's our tonic function. That's our home function. That's our stable function. All right. So what if I'm talking to you right here? What if I'm do, re, mi, fa, fa. If I'm talking to you right here on the fourth degree of my scale, here I am on my, if I were talking about harmony, which I am, if I'm talking about harmony, then this would be the fourth degree of my scale, which is an unstable harmonic function. It's the subdominant function, it's motion away from tonic. So that when I'm on my fourth degree of my scale, it feels like I'm going somewhere. It feels like I'm moving somewhere, like I'm trying to get someplace, but you don't know where I'm going to go. There's no real target set up here. So when I'm on my subdominant, brethren and sister, and I want you to, so that it's sort of a preacher thing, or it's an auctioneer kind of thing, or it's just really exciting. I really got to tell you this, so that I'm feeling unstable on that fourth degree of my scale. And once again, my grammatical functions, my articles, my pronouns, my conjunctions, and my prepositions are setting that fourth degree tonality, and my stressed and emphasized syllables are moving, arpeggiating thirds and fifths and so on away from that tonic and creating the harmonic function of that fourth degree. Do, re, mi, fa, so. There's the fifth degree of my scale. When I'm on the fifth degree of my scale, the fifth degree of my scale here, it feels a little bit more aggressive. It feels, if it were harmony, it would be the dominant function, the function that says I need to go back to the tonic. That one there, the one that we get a little irritated on, the one that we get a little angry on. I'm dominating you. They call it the dominant function for a reason, and there it is with, once again, the fifth degree of my scale. That's the place where my grammatical functions are setting it, and then I'm arpeggiating until I finally go back to my tonic. We threaten each other on the dominant function, that is the fifth degree of the scale, below the tonic. Don't you talk to me like that again. And I remember I did a tour of New Zealand, and my guide, Chanel Davis, who has a very, very heavy foot on the accelerator, we were driving down this street in Auckland, and there was a big red light at a big cross street, and she was just barreling along, and I knew she hadn't seen the light, so and she said, I got it, and she stopped, and then we solfeged where I was, and we figured out that I was on the seventh degree of my scale, the least stable degree that we've got, the I don't want to die degree. So that this whole sense of listening to the pitches that you're on is an index, is a key to deciding line by line how you're feeling in that line, how you're saying it with feeling. Say it with feeling, and then see where you are. So as I did in the last segment, I hear you out there crying. 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 That feels like I'm in the subdominant function, like I'm feeling unstable. I hear you out there crying, begging, let me in. You make your way between the cracks. I know your moan. I know your laugh. And so it feels like I'm on my tonic there. That's something I know. That's a fact. And so in making the phrasing decisions that I've made for the verses, for at least the first verse, one, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, bum, begging, let me in. For one, you make your way between the cracks. I know your moan. I know your laugh. So that the statement in the fourth line, I know your moan, I know your laugh, I know you laugh, feels stable because I said it on my tonic. The other lines, I said on my subdominant, that in motion kind of thing. So that the whole sense of the harmonic functions of language, that is listening to where your pitches are, seems to me to be a very, very helpful way of saying your lyric, saying it aloud, feeling it, saying like you mean it, and then listening to where your pitches are. How are you feeling about that? Did you like that movie? Yeah. Did you like that movie? Yeah. You don't need to go any further. Once you say, yeah, you know what the answer is. Yeah, yeah. Subdominated the movie. You subdominated the movie. You don't have to tell me. You can tell me why you didn't like it, but don't tell me, yeah, and you're subdominant. Yeah, with reservations, a lot of reservations. And so, really, listen to the pitches. So when we talk about phrasing being the body language of your song, we can talk about tone of voice. That is, that 35% of our meaning, not only in terms of the timbre of your voice, or, but also the literal pitches that you're on as an index to discovering, just very simply, how to phrase. Back heavy, front heavy, stable, unstable. If you're on the 4th or 5th degree of your scale, the harmonic functions of language.